Well, this isn't who you thought it was going to be. I'm taking over this show. I'm hijacking the show today. Super excited. Eric Sablan. I do a podcast called Burnt Phone Marketing, but I'm just blessed. I got lucky to hijack the show. And today's going to be an amazing show because we're going to actually dive deep into who, what, why, when, and how these two amazing dads became the My Two Dads show. Those two dads show is going to be amazing. So here's the thing. I'm actually going to, if you're coming on live, hashtag live. If you're coming on the replay, thank you very much. We'll see you on the replay. But I'm going to introduce these two guys because you guys don't, I mean, you guys have been watching them and you've been following them. And you've been watching what they're doing. But behind the scenes, they're amazing individuals. They're two dads that really just like, if you just see what they do and how they do it and the caringness and the amount of things that they put into this whole program, but still become the dads that they are, the dads that people look up to. And here's the thing. A lot of people out there, they want to be, the best dad they can be, but they don't have a place to start. And that's what I love about this show is it actually peels back the onion, gives you some vulnerability, and shows you what two dads could do that could change many people's lives. Now, I know they talk about business, they talk about marketing, but in their heart of hearts, they're two dads that care about their family, but you as a family also. So I'm going to bring these two to the stage right now, to the Zoom, to what we do here. I'm going to bring them to the stage. Again, I'm Eric Sablan. I run a podcast called Burnt Phone Marketing, and these two gave me the chance, the opportunity to interview them on their own show. So I'm bringing them to the stage. Here they come. I'm bringing Josh on, and I'm bringing Kyle. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
What's going on?
We are the ones who are blessed that you're hijacking this.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm thankful that you get to, that you've been gracious enough to get on here and hijack the show from us. So, yeah, I don't want to babble too much. So this is. We have no control, guys. We gave him control of our system to do this. Hands off.
And I'm ready, and I roll with StreamYard, so I'm excited to be able to be here. I'm excited to actually provide value. So if you're coming in, like I do this because I do a lot with Facebook. If you're coming in and you're lurking, just come in and tell us where you're coming in from. I mean, we love the interaction and we love the questions that people have. It looks like there's a couple people on here. So, grab the keyboard and just so-and-so from this location, so-and-so from this location. So if that's you, just jump in there and interact with us because we love to interact with people. So I'm going to start this off the way I start off most of my podcasts, the way I start off, because it doesn't matter, you want to be able to know, like, and trust Kyle and Josh. And here's the cool thing. Like, we're going to tell their backstory, and we're going to do it in two separate things. We're going to do, like, the backstory for Josh, the backstory for Kyle, and then what we're going to do is the backstory of those two dads. Because a lot of times you don't know where they came from. So Josh, really, really quick, in a couple, your 30-second elevator pitch. We're marketers. So your 30-second elevator pitch, like, what was your background? What's your background in marketing and as a dad?
Yeah, so I'm a dad of two boys. I've got a 13-year-old and a 5-year-old. Been married for 12 years with the same woman for 17 years coming up on. And I got into the marketing world. My first actual marketing job was in 2005 selling meat door to door. And that just went into things like selling vacuums, selling insurance to farmers, doing things like selling cars. And that got me interested in internet marketing, and I got into different types of network marketing type things. And that actually brought me this passion. I'm a techie guy. So I got this passion of digital marketing, and I started learning about automation, emails, funnels, and YouTube, and doing video. And here we are now.
Perfect. I guess I'm up.
Well, that's kind of how I started. I was like, what? This is kind of a cool little thing. This is kind of cool here. This is kind of cool there. And then for years, I just kept dumping money into it. I'm like, there's got to be the magic pill. There's got to be the magic pill. And then I just found that, like, giving back to people, like literally creating a show, giving back to people was a drastic change. And, people started to know, like, and trust me. So Kyle, a little bit about your backstory and, you know, where you came from, your marketing and you know, your dad background, because this is those two dads.
For sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
You're good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not on my normal setup, man. My computer, my personal one, is just foobarred right now. So I had to grab my wife's, and then I scrambled to get things set up. And so anyway, here I am. So I'm married, 2 boys, just like Josh, but my boys are a little bit younger. I got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. Just getting back from hockey tonight. Both my boys play, and so I got my 4-year-old that's skating. I'm coaching the 7-year-old, and so I'm in my coaching garb. So part of another night, right? And so, man, I started in business as a 24-year-old. A couple of buddies and me convinced some older gentlemen to give us some money, and that I don't know why they would ever do that, but they did. And we started a call center, and I've been in marketing ever since then. And it was something that I didn't realize was going to be the passion that it is for me. And so, you know, along the way, as a business owner, you guys know, like, your ultimate title is problem solver, right? Mm-hmm. And so you just start to solve problems, and then you go down these rabbit holes of solutions or potential solutions, and you start to pick up these different nuggets of knowledge. And that's what ultimately led me into digital marketing, and it's become a passion ever since. And that path, as you look back, you know, if it would have went a different way, I would have never met Josh.
Yep.
That's a perfect segue into meeting Josh. So I know you guys both come into, you guys come from different spaces. I don't even know exactly how far away you guys are, but oh, by the way, I play hockey too. I grew up playing hockey too, so I play hockey too. So yeah, we got it going on, Alaska. So we do a couple things, and hockey is one of those things that we do. But you two came together, and I know you bounced this because Josh was a student of ours, and he was like, I want to launch this thing. And it was really, I mean, like, when he came with the idea, it was like, that is legit. That is something that, you know, that's a niche. You know, one of my mentors told me this is like, find a niche so small, you're the only one that fit in it. And I love what he's done here. So tell me, like, you can, like, bing, bang, like, boom, 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 like, fire hose me on, you know, how those two dads came to life, a little bit about that backstory.
Well, for sure. So Josh and I unknowingly we're interested in digital marketing, right? And we go down and we're exploring the world of Russell Brunson, right? As a lot of us come into the fray that way, right? And so both of us decided to take the One Funnel Away challenge, and we ended up in the same group. What was it, like February 12th or 13th or 11th, something like that, of 2020, right?
Yep.
And so we still don't know each other, right? We go through this whole thing. We're like learning a little bit more. We end up in some of the groups that I feel like everybody ends up in on Facebook after you're completing that program. And we're just kind of on our way, right? I'm working on a high ticket offer. Josh is still working at the time in what were you working on at the time?
I was doing network marketing, and I was in the health niche, and I was trying to do a vitamin funnel for one of the top vitamin lines that we had at the time.
Right. And so we're just in some mutual groups at this point. And then as you do, you help your fellow marketer, you know, with their organic marketing and reach to try to reach other people with engagement. Right. And so Josh and I like stumble into this meme war camaraderie relationship, right? So like we're like gifing and memeing each other back on these posts, right? And it's goofy, but his humor is my humor, right? And so we're bonding that way. And then we end up, Josh joins a group, just a different like email marketing group or something. And I see that he enters, and he, like, you know, it asks you to introduce yourself, right? And so I see that. I'm like, oh, what's up, dude? Like, you know, if you need anything, let me know. And then we end up jumping on a call like a couple days later. He had a question about something, and he's like totally expecting me to like just pitch him, right? because at this point we have no real relationship other than like these
yet.
meme wars, right? And so we get on this call and we both connect in the same way. We want to, really get to know somebody first before we really get into whatever conversation. And even above that, we're looking to help, right? Like our primary goal is to help that person achieve whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, right? And ourselves are kind of secondary.
And to that point, real quick, is what's funny is my mindset on getting on the call was I was seeing what he was doing with the high ticket affiliate marketing. And I was like, I know he does stuff in there. I wonder if I can figure out like what he's doing and see if I can figure out like where he's at in this. And I was almost like thinking I was going to find somebody that I could ride the coattails of for a little bit. And I got in there. Yeah, right. And so I was like, I can go in there and I can see what he's up to and, just get an idea. And then maybe it'll give me some inspiration moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you get inspired?
Oh, there was inspiration. That's for sure. There's no lack of inspiration on that call. Well, in that call started out with, the introduction, right? You like, oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, we've been memeing and gifing back and forth, and which that sounds kind of dirty, memeing and gifing. But it is what it is. And then it just grew into not even getting to the topic that I was thinking we were going to get to. Then we started talking about like what we do and, realizing that we're both kind of corporate guys at the time and we're both building online marketing businesses and we're both trying to, figure out what works in our personality. And we start realizing like we're both married. We've been married for a while. We've both got 2 boys.
Eric, it was like, you've seen Step Brothers, right?
Yeah.
When they're finally like, right, when they're like finally getting along, and you're like, do we just become best friends? And they're like, bro, do you want to go do karate in the garage? And so this is karate in the garage.
Yep.
And this is what karate in the garage looks like.
Yep.
Exactly. Did you guys build bunk beds? Just making sure you guys built bunk beds.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right over there. No.
There's so much room for activities.
So much room for activities.
Just don't touch my drum set.
Yeah, don't touch my drum set. So that's cool. Like, and for all of you guys out there that have like been in that world of, Kyle talked about Russell Brunson and the One Funnel Away challenge. Like I grew from that. I'm cut from that cloth as well. I was, I still, I was at Funnel Hacking Live and I got to see a lot of those guys that are there.
I saw that
last year, and that was awesome. So as you guys said that you guys both kind of came from the corporate world, and I kind of want to give the audience a little bit of like, because there's so many things out there that people are saying like, well, if you build an online business, you're taking away from something. So I want you guys to like basically not overcome that objection, but just let people know that, everybody has 167 hours in a week.
Right.
How do you how do you make time for hockey, coaching, family, wife, business, job? Like that's 6 things. Like, and if you put them all together, like that's 6 or 7 things. So in your own words, in a few like in a minute or 30 seconds to a minute, what would be like the one thing that you tell people that are like, I don't have time to create another vertical?
So when it's plan your work and work your plan. So when you take the One Funnel Away challenge, like the very first day, right, in the little workbook that Russell provides, it has you list all 24 hours in a day, right? And this is like my big aha epiphany about this whole thing is list what you do. Like what time do you get up? What time do you go to bed? What do you do when you get home? And like really it makes you realize how much time you're like screwing off, right? And what are you accomplishing in that? Are you entertained? Like you're probably like scrolling through Twitter or Instagram or whatever, right? Oh,
it does that occasionally.
Lost you for a second. Yeah. But it gives you this big aha moment, and you're like, wow, I really have this time that I'm nickel and diming away from myself and my personal growth. And so when you decide, and you come and it's a decision, right? You have to make this decision that I'm in this for my own personal growth, right? Because I'm trying to achieve X goal because of whatever your why is, right? And so like it's a little equation, but at the end of the day, it's you got to plan your work and then you got to work your plan.
Yeah. Well, and to go on that too, like the big thing that I think for me is the easiest way to explain it is to actually briefly go through my plan, right? It's like I'm up at 6:30 every day. And from 6:30 to 8, it's get up, get showered, get the kids ready, have breakfast. And I usually do my reading right before I start my day job. And I start work at 8. And from 8 to 5, it's work. And this is one thing that people forget is they go, well, if you're working, how are you like able to build your business? And it's like, well, I have breaks at work. I have time between calls. I can respond to messages. I can edit 10 minutes of my video. I can make a post. I can write an email. Those little blocks of time add up. But then at the end of the day, from 5 to 7, that's family and dinner time. From usually 7 to 9 is usually my meetings time. That's usually when most people will schedule meetings with me. That's when the masterminds are. That's when all the stuff happens. And then from 9 to 11 is what I call my focus time. That's where if I'm editing videos, I focus on that. If I'm, doing emails or something, I throw on some music and let that kind of drown out the background noise and focus on that. But that's the focus time. And then 11 p.m. is start the process to bed. And I'm in bed by 11:30 midnight, and I get up at 6:30 the next morning. And like, that's the plan. And people go, well, how do you execute that every day the same way? Your routine is what you set as your plan, and you make that a habit. And your routine becomes your habit, and your habit becomes your routine. And you just continue to cycle that every day, day in and day out. And you just find those pockets.
Yeah, I had a mentor. Her name was, she's a top earner in one of the companies that I was in. And she said from stage, you can build this business in pockets of your day. And as you build the business, your pockets get bigger.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a great analogy. And I like how you kind of block it off. I mean, I know that you were like you were in our program and we did the 2-3-2, and it sounds like you've actually like really taken the 2-3-2 and like implemented it into your own way that you do things. So that's awesome.
100%.
That's awesome, because that was an idea that I thought of, the 2-3-2, and it's just a home run. I mean, it works for me.
It's phenomenal.
So,
Nice.
you guys, you guys answered that question like a home run, like you just really just crushed it. And, there's a lot of people out there. So when you guys decided to create this amazing platform, and you created those two dads platform, like what was the, what was the desire? What was the desire that you wanted to do? What was like I hate to say it, but like it's cheesy, but what was like this is what I want. What was your I help statement? Internally, externally, because I'm going to ask you what your help statement is internally next. So just be ready for that. So what was your external, like, I help people. This is what I want to put on all the banners. This is what's going to go underneath the logo. What was that? What was that? What did that look like?
Dude, we came up with this name in like 5 seconds.
Did you buy the URL right after you bought the name?
We had these like 2 or 3 calls or something, right, Josh? Like our first one, like was gonna be like our very first call that we were kind of talking about earlier was scheduled to be like a half an hour, and Josh and I end up talking for like 3 hours, right? And then and then we end up we're like, dude, like we just like really had some chemistry, and we just connected again, and it was kind of just another call that just flowed. And we're like, man, kind of how we're aligning with, we both have 2 boys, we're dads, we both have our full-time day jobs that we're trying to put some distance between us with, and start this additional income that we want to turn into something bigger, right? But we don't really see that avatar advertised and talked about, and and like, who are some of these other guys in the same boat that we're in, working to achieve these things? Like, you see other like successful entrepreneurs that have made it and then tell that story, but you don't really see that along the way, because there's so much discouragement that happens along the way. You get in your own head, the runway, it's the curve, right? It's flat, and then it ticks up and takes off, right? And that flat part feels like nothing's happening a lot of times, but until you like actually take a step back and can look at it, and you can like then realize. But in the moment, that can be discouraging. So him and I are talking about that, and we're like, we want to help bridge that starting point to that taking off point, right? And at minimum, chronicle like our own journey to that.
Yep.
And I think Josh is really hitting that right now. You can see it.
Yeah, there's some definitely critical mass going on.
For sure.
Well, in the whole idea in the I help statement, I think would be, we help dads realize that they can do this too. And that's the thing that I think that a lot of people, they ask us, I get people that ask me all the time. They're like, well, what is Those Two Dads about? And it's like, it's about everything about dads. And they go, well, you guys talk about business stuff all the time. And it's like, yeah, because that's what we do. But when you look at the people,
we can talk about bourbon if you want. We can talk about ice.
Right. Yeah. We can talk about bourbon. We can talk about barbecue.
We can talk about brisket.
Yeah. Well, and I tell people, I say, check this out, right? Is we had an author come on here talking about writing letters to his kids and making that a book. We had a podcast kid come on talking about how he went to work with his dad and decided to play around with the mics and build a business out of it. We had a guy who got taken away from his home and moved to a completely different part of the country in the middle of the ocean in Hawaii with no job to follow his wife, and built a business over there because he had nothing better to do. And people are like, well, this is all about business. It's like, no, this is about what people do.
It's a journey. It's about the journey.
It's their journey, right? It's what dads are doing, or maybe they weren't dads then, but now they're dads. And we've been focusing on that so much because, like we have a guy coming up here after the beginning of the year that he's a cattle feed distributor. Like that doesn't really come out to online marketing altogether, but he's, it's one of those things that we're showcasing the fact that there is no right or wrong way to achieve the goals and dreams that people have, and dads don't get exposure. We're told that we need to just, work quietly behind the scenes and support the kids and support the wife and do all these things. And when we go out and
or there's some that are just absent from their family.
Right. Yeah,
they have a family, but you wouldn't know that they're around.
Right. And that's the thing, is this platform is a place where anybody, not just dads, but anybody can come see a couple dads that we live like 8-10 hours apart from each other. Kyle lives in St. Louis. I live in Fargo, North Dakota. And we've actually never met in person. This is an entire online relationship. And I'll tell you what, Kyle and I have a better relationship than most of me and my friends do.
I second that. I have some business partners that I work with that I've met twice. No, I've met once, and then we're scheduling it. And same exact thing. I'm on the phone. I'm talking to them. I have more things to talk about it than, some of the softball players, some of the people that I've grown up with, because, it's that crab pot mentality. And, I might get a little bit of haterade, and I'm sure everyone on this call gets that haterade. Like, who do you think you are? I mean, what makes you different? And then I love to say, that's exactly what it is, because I was put through the ringer for the last 5 years before all of a sudden I was an overnight success, right? That stuff's never going to work. That online marketing stuff's never going to work. That's never going to work. Why do you waste your time? Why do you go to those events? Why do you do this? Now all of a sudden it's like, can you show me what you're doing? No, I can't. You want to know why? Because you're not my ideal client.
Yep.
So yeah, I got the same exact
That's the
thing.
God's honest truth.
And it's totally about like meeting people that you really can connect with that have your same vision. And you know, that's why we get into the network marketing space. That's why we get into the affiliate marketing space, because we want to JV with people. It's like, it's important to have those connections. You know what I mean? I always say this on all my podcasts. You're the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most.
Yep.
And some people, like COVID did a great thing to move everybody online so we can connect easier.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we've set up, I mean, as you can tell, all of us have set up a studio type thing that basically shows that how important it is to be online, to be on Zoom, to be on live, to be on all these things. So yeah, that's awesome. Like, I'm excited. And what I got from that was, you want to bridge the gap between the boring success building before someone catapults to launching a giant offer, the story about them, the author, the book that they released. You want to basically give them like compassion and support from start to critical mass.
Yep.
For sure. Well, and you said something like, when you were just talking about 5 years of the ringer and then overnight success, right? Mm-hmm. That's really not what happened, right? It's build a little piece here, build the next piece here, build the next piece here, right? And then the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts, right? And then you still got to put more energy into it to hit that critical mass point, to then all of a sudden be viewed as overnight success. But none of that, you know, it's the iceberg poster. You know, none of that happens without each day that, you know, you hit the grind, you hit the grind, you hit the grind, you got a little discouraged, but you still aim back and you hit the grind, and then you see a little payoff, and then maybe you take another step back somehow, right? And then another little payoff, and then another step back. But somebody needs to document that along the way, because not everybody, you're not just going to meet 1,500 Russell Brunsons and then like, and it happens like that. Even Russell Brunson didn't become Russell Brunson overnight. No. It took him 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, and the guy looks like he's 15, but it took him 20 years.
It took him a while.
Well, and I think the other part of that too is, you know, when we're looking at our journey, and, you know, Kyle touched on how things are happening to me, you know, released my book, which is right there somewhere. I can't turn my hand far enough. But
embarrassing.
He's got it.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing that I think that is interesting, is people go, oh, you know, like, you released your book and now you're a best-selling author, so you must feel great. And I told someone, I said, you know, I actually don't feel great about the process I went through. It was grueling. Like, I had to go through the editing process. I had to, you know, and the thing is it was only one chapter out of the book, but that one chapter took a lot of thought power to put together. And it took time of going through the process and doing the graphics and doing, you know, working.
It was something you never done before. And you had to connect with some other people to help you navigate that whole situation. It's like what Eric, you just said, creating relationships, you know, like that stuff matters, and it takes time, and it doesn't happen like in 10 seconds.
Right. And I think the thing that people miss, and what we do on the show a lot, is we always ask people, what did it take to get where you are today? Like, what did you go through? And then how did you balance that with having a life? And, you know, having, like, a lot of these people that we interview, they have families. And so it's like, how did you balance building a business and having a family and still being able to enjoy your life and not hating yourself for years? And then by the time you get to a point where you're ready to enjoy your life, you look like you've aged 40 years and 3, because, you know, you've beaten yourself up. And they all have the same answer in just another way, shape, or form, is that they just found their happy place where they can grow and learn and build and continue to push. That you're almost riding that line, that edge of, you're almost ready to explode and almost ready to fall all at the same time. And you just kind of sit in that line the whole time. And sometimes it moves up and sometimes it moves down. And this show is designed to show people like, look, we have really great interviews and we're lucky enough to have more of those, but there's a couple of them that have been kind of challenging. And showing that journey, I think it opens up people's minds to realize that we didn't do, like, we've done the show now for over a year. We do episodes every 2 weeks. What was that?
31st or 32nd episode?
32nd episode. Yeah. And, you think about that, and most podcasts don't make it past their 3rd to 5th episode. And even the ones that make it past their 20th episode, like, most of them don't even get there. If they make it to 20, then they go, well, I'm not going anywhere. Dude, we've got 31 subscribers on YouTube. We have like almost 400 listens on Anchor. We're not this big, huge deal. But you know what happens is over and over again, people are emailing us and messaging us and calling. Like, I got a phone call yesterday and someone's like, hey, I found your number on some page or whatever. And I wanted to, it was my business number. And they're like, hey, aren't you that Those Two Dads guy? Would you want to like connect and maybe see about getting someone on an interview with you? Like, that stuff happens because we've been doing this and we've been putting in the work and putting in the grind. And people go, well, that's great. What does that mean? That means that we're showing everybody else out there that thinks that they can't do it and thinks that it's too hard and thinks that it's not going to come to fruition. And we're showing them, if you just stick around and put in the work and show up, things happen.
100%. That's like, and things do happen. And I love what you said, that question that you always ask everybody, what did you do? That right there, and I'm not coaching, but I'm just going to say, when someone asks, what's My Two Dads about? How do they talk about business? I would say, I ask every one of my guests this question. And that question would be like, how did you overcome and how did you get to where you are now?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be interesting? Because their fathers, their dads, their people, they want to know that journey. How is it? You want the behind the scenes? Here it is. This is how this person got there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And no 1-2 stories are exactly the same. Right? They're all unique.
Every single one.
I'm going to peel the onion back right now, though. And if you guys all Russell Brunson people, you'll know kind of the journey that we're talking about. So I asked you what the external, like, I want to put this on my badge. I want to put this here. Like, what was the internal struggle that you wanted to solve by creating Those Two Dads podcast? Because my internal struggle was, when I created the Burnt Film Marketing, was I was tired of, running through the list. And if you, like, one of the things on my intro says, if you've been in network marketing for a year or a day, your friends, your family and friends have seen your opportunity, and your friend is, as we call it, burnt. And that's a scary thought. So what was like the internal reason that you guys created this show? And what was it like? What was the one that you don't like? You know how Russell says, ask the question 3 times. So I might end up asking it 2 more times for the real reason. But what was the reason, like, you guys, like, internally, you were like, you know what? I'm going to do this because John over there really struggles. And I know if I can connect him with somebody, it could make a difference. Or Tim over there, or, this person over there. What was the internal struggle or internal reason you guys decided that you guys wanted to do this show?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question. And I think for me, it's a couple of things. And these questions, they can be simple, but then they're also complex, right? So, like, for me, it's I wanted to provide hope for people that might watch. I mean, let's face it, we didn't know if anybody would watch. But it was also hope for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that Josh and I both want to create impact as well. All right. So we want to just
Sure.
whatever we're doing, we want to put a positive impact on just one person.
Mhm.
And then there is some selfishness that's and there's I saw and still see, and he knows it. Josh is an accountability buddy for me.
Yeah.
And being able to have a like-minded partner in crime in this space is imperative. Right? Yeah. And so I think, coaches have their time and place, but then somebody still needs to just intimately know you and where you're going. And that's also what the show is about right there. Wait,
yeah, 100%.
That image right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is it.
It's, and that's, I will admit that's one thing that I will never say no to, is if my kids come down and want a hug or want to tell me something or whatever, I will always, even if I'm talking, I will always be like, hold up, let me take care of that. And it's cool too, because he actually was just bringing down a Lego to like show me this Lego creation he was making. But Kyle, you got your thought out? I don't want to overstep.
It's good, man.
Okay. So I just want to make sure you got your thought out there. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with Kyle. And number one, same thing, like we're each other's accountability buddy. And, Kyle will tell you that every time I achieve something, he's one of the first people I text. He always gets that text from me, is like, dude, I did this. Like when I hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, I was like, dude, I got it. When I had a video that took off, like that's still taking off and it's freaking rocket shipping to the moon right now. Like I was like, dude, look at this. Like this thing's insane. And he's always the person I'm going to. So,
and I want him to know I'm his biggest fan. There's way too many people that are out there just so fake that like they see their buddy have success and then they just want to chop them at the legs because they're not having success, and it's crap. And I need him to know that I'm going to be in his corner for all his wins and in any of his losses too. But I'll be his biggest cheerleader, even if it has nothing to do with me, because that's who it is. That's who we are.
Love you,
brother. We need that. Like, so one of the biggest nuggets that I pulled from you guys both is like accountability is key. You know who kicks my ass? I don't know if I can say that, but you know who kicks my butt? Yeah. Mr. Brown.
Oh yeah.
Crushes me.
I believe
like,
that.
And he does it in a way. He does it in a Fabian Brown way where it doesn't feel like he's kind of he does it the New Jersey way, I guess. Like
he's like knocking you across the head with the baseball bat and then giving you a back rub at the same time.
Right. And I'm like, all right, I'll get it done. And it's crazy, but that right there, that accountability has what's grown our business so quickly, is because we both think of something and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, all right, I'll do that. I'll bang that out. Let me do it. So, and that's huge. So like, yeah, the internal reason why you guys built this is phenomenal. I'll just the journey that you guys have come in the last 30 some episodes. And I was actually going to talk about that because Steve Larson says you don't find your voice until your 33rd episode. So something is going to happen. Like, guys, like, just know, like, if you're watching right now or you're listening right now, just know that what you saw before was underneath the water, like the iceberg scenario that he talked about. You find your voice at 33 to 45, like right in that area. All of a sudden, it just like this trajectory comes. And with the book that he released, if you don't have the book, I would suggest you download the book, get the book, buy the book. I think he has it on Amazon. I'm sure he's going to put it in the show notes. Get the book, because it's important that you understand who the people are that you're listening to and what they do. So, and I was kind of went off on a tangent there, but it's like you just kind of see where people are going. And I just love what you guys have created at here. And it really, really helps people like those two dads. Like I'm a dad of 7, and we have 4 grandbabies. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But my youngest is
Another
22.
person who doesn't look
No.
as old as they are. Like
Like
4 grandbabies. That is obnoxious.
the first time
No,
I
you
heard
don't.
that, when
No,
he told
you
me that,
don't.
and I was like, bullshit. I was like,
Yeah.
you do not have 4 grandbabies. And he was like, here's the pictures. And I was like, okay.
You know,
But, you know,
and
and to
my
your
wife
point,
looks
Eric,
younger than me, so
yeah, that's fair. That makes up for it, right? Well, and to that point, like, to expand on what Kyle was talking about earlier about, you know, giving people hope, is this is a platform that anybody can watch at any level of their business and learn something. And it's not a way to like pat ourselves on the back or anything, but it's more of there's always something. I mean, you go look at our first episode and, you know, the camera's getting pulled down and, you know, the kids are running around in the background, or, you know,
I'm in my basement,
yeah, in the
unfinished.
basement. And you
You see
look
all
at
my old call center crap behind me.
Yep.
It's a mess.
And you look at that journey, and like you said, you know, we start building onto this, and, you know, we've gotten better at our interview tactics. We've gotten better at, you know, we've gotten better guests. We've had 7-figure marketers on our podcast. And the thing is that I don't look at any of that as a way to say like, hey, we've made it, we've arrived, and now we can just, you know, build on our platform and just, you know, ride the coattails of our success. We're doing what so many people wish they could do, and they psych themselves out and say, you know what, I can't do that for whatever reason it is. And we sit here and go, look, we started out from nothing, and we literally just got on our computers and said, we're just going to do this. And we started out with some basic topics, and we moved into, I mean, we had you on the show, we had Fabian and David, and we had a couple other people. And
We were blessed to have you guys whenever,
Yeah.
like, that was like episode 7,
Yeah.
8 or something. Like, I mean, just
But-
truly blessed that you guys were willing to come on and talk with a bunch
So
of
grateful.
schlubs.
oh, we'll be
Yeah.
on. We'll be on.
But that's the thing, right? Is it's that journey of getting started and pushing forward and continuing to push forward through life situations, through sicknesses, through, I mean, shoot, one of the podcast episodes we did, I was literally at one of the company events for the network marketing company I was in at the time.
We
And
had one when I had COVID.
Yeah, he had COVID and we were doing one. I mean, and people look at that stuff and they think about all these things that could derail them. And all we're doing here is just generating piles and piles and piles of hope to show people that it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from. You don't even have to know the other person in person. You don't even have to live next to each other. You don't even have to be in the same room. You can do this. We do this podcast live virtually, and
I'm in a bedroom.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just, there's so many ways that people could psych themselves out. And
well, this show really is a product of our One Funnel Away challenge and the themes that they
it really
branded,
is.
right?
Mhm.
It's be here a year from now, right? Put content out daily. What you just said about Steve Larson, like your 33rd to 45th show is where you start to find your voice. The first ones are supposed to suck, right? And mark my words, we're gonna have Steve Larson on the show.
We will.
We're gonna get him.
Well,
We're
he's
gonna get him.
podcasting again, so you probably will get him.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna get him. But the themes stem from that, right? And that's where, like, our, at least for me, like the trajectory really started there, right? To pour into learning more about this stuff and understanding what it takes, and those themes you just got to keep building on that stuff.
Yeah. It's 100%. You just got to keep going. It's one foot in front of the other. Like success, I always tell people success is boring. Like if you continue to do it, working out is boring. You know, going to the gym is boring, but the results happen like after, you know, a while. The results happen and it'll come back on. The results happen after a while. And, you know, I actually was just doing a training with someone, and he said, and this is for all of you guys out there that are like, you know what, there's no way I could create a podcast. There's no way I could do this. There's no way I could do that. Decision without action is the beginning of delusion.
Yeah, man.
So if you decide that, you know what, I'm going to build a podcast, do something small, like download
4615. Hit that quote.
4615. So basically, like, if you're going to do a podcast, go and freaking like download Anchor, create your Anchor account or Libsyn, whatever. And here's the thing. Don't like create the whole big problem. Just do something that moves towards your goal of creating what you wanted to do. And another thing that he said today was, where is it? I lost that one. But that decision without action is the beginning of delusion. That one right there, write that one down, because just take one step to what you're doing, one step to that goal. And you could have a podcast. You could have episode 25. You could have episode 30. I mean, I'm on episode 100. I have 114 episodes recorded right now. So you could do that. And I took a break. I took a 3-month break on my podcast, but then I brought it back with Michael Burnoff. So can't beat that.
Nice. And that's the essence of the show is just start, right? Just start, just show up. It's not going to be perfect. There's way too many people out there well, Josh, how'd you put it? They like scare themselves into inaction because they think these things need to be like some sort of like perfect, well-oiled machine or whatever, and they're not. Even the one that looks like it isn't.
No,
it isn't. There's so much turmoil and craziness that happens in the background, and then it just you can polish a turd and put it online. It looks all right.
Yeah, that's true.
You can. Because if you look at my first episode, I was sitting in a living room with a weird, it was just crazy. But I hit play.
Yeah.
I created my intro on my kitchen table. And guess what everybody says? Dude, your intro is legit.
Yep.
I created a 60-second intro on my kitchen table, and I recorded it 3 times. I recorded it like a bunch of times, but I was on my kitchen table on my iPhone. No mics, no special mics like these are, no special cameras, nothing like that. I did it on my iPhone.
Yep.
So
for sure. I got a friend that says sales is simply the transference of certainty from me to you, right? Well, and that's what confidence is. That's what any of this is. If you're just certain about just that this is what I'm gonna do, again, you don't have to be perfect, but you just need to be certain in the action that you're taking that day. People love that because it's authentic, right? And they can buy into that.
Well, I think
people can buy into certainty because you're certain. Like when you say something, it's like, I run a podcast. It's called Those Two Dads. Like it's certain. People go to certainty.
Yeah.
Well, and the big thing that I think that people miss too is they look at the things that people have done and they think, well, if I try to do something like that, what am I going to experience? What hardships am I going to have? They start thinking about all the challenges before they even take that first step. And they start, they lose that confidence. And I always tell everybody, I say, I learned this from Darren Hardy, is that the compound effect, right? 1% better every day. And if you just make yourself 1% better every single day than you were the day before, you'll be 37 times better than you were on day 365 than you were on day 1. And people don't think about that. They just think, well, 1% is not that much. No, 1% is not that much. But do you realize that 1% times 365 is a hell of a lot better than you're ever going to have if you just are 0% every day? And
Right.
so everybody knows negative compounds much faster than positive does. And
Yep.
it's something that people need to realize is that, like you said, you started out doing things on your phone. We started out doing things just however we had it. I was lucky enough to have a lot of nicer stuff, but that's because of my job. My job, I needed nicer stuff to work at home. So I utilized the money I got from my company to buy the things that I have. And so I was fortunate enough to have those things right away, but not everybody does.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we started out just like everybody else. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like most people do. I mean, Kyle jumps into his pants every day, but
Backflips into him, actually.
oh, backflips. Yeah, he's
around.
upgraded. But we're no different. We have 2 arms, 2 legs. Pete Rose says it the best is, so people who don't know Pete Rose, and he's one of my favorite people to talk about. He has 2 records in Major League Baseball, right? One of his records is for number of hits. He has over 4,000 hits, like 4,200 hits or something like that. But he also holds the record for at-bats at 14,000 at-bats. And if you look at the significance of that, he's had more failures than he's had successes. If you look at the differences so 1 out of every 3.5 bats, he gets a hit. And
I love baseball analogies for that simple thing. You fail more often than you succeed, and it's still considered awesome.
Yeah, it's still considered awesome. I mean, there's people that have records for being struck out the most times, and they're in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Okay. I wasn't going in that direction, but like 300.
But I mean, the thing about it is that Pete Rose talks about it, and he says, you know what, I've got 2 arms and 2 legs, and I'm just like everybody else, but I will hustle more than the guy next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's there's a little one. That's the biggest thing that I think people forget about is the hustle, right? They need to just push themselves to take 1 step every day and push themselves forward and continue doing that day in and day out, and stop worrying about the failures. Stop worrying about the things that go wrong, because in the end, people may talk about those now, but when your successes outweigh the failures you had trying to get to that point, they forget, because they're going to come back and go, wow, those 2 dads just had Steve Larson on their channel. Those 2 dads just had Russell Brunson on their podcast. Those 2 dads just had
Eric Sablan hosting this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's the thing of people don't worry about what happened before. Like, nobody comes to us and goes, you guys know your first episode was crap, right? Like, nobody says that.
No. But they watched it and they listened to it.
Yep.
Right?
They sure did.
So what, Josh, like our second most viewed YouTube video at this point?
It's our second most viewed, I think second or third most viewed video, our top most listened to on the audio side of things. Like, and we get comments all the time. People are like, hey, I loved that you guys just started authentically.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's the word again, authentic, certain.
Yep. So I got one more question for you guys, but I'm going to actually touch on that, what we just talked about. One of my mentors told me this: dream, struggle, victory. Mm-hmm. And what I found is, we all have dreams. We all want to build this thing, but we never go through the struggle because we never take action. But the only part that anyone ever cares about is the 10% of the last 10% of your struggle and the first 10% of your victory.
Yep.
So in the whole 100%, the 80-20, people only care about 10% of your struggle, the last 10%. How did you get there? And how did you achieve that? So I'm going to future cast you guys a little bit. You guys have had Steve Larson on your podcast. So this is a question for two people. You can answer it together or you can answer it separate, but I do this at every one of my podcasts. And I hope you guys are ready for this because I think it's the coolest, because I've stopped people in their tracks with this question.
Okay.
So I'm gonna paint a picture for you. You're at the largest, whatever you guys are doing, marketing, podcast, you're at the largest convention. There's 100,000 people in the audience, and you guys are the Sunday afternoon speaker. And let me break that down for everybody. The Sunday afternoon speaker is when they come back for lunch, and that's the person that everybody came to see. Tony Robbins at Funnel Hacking Live was the Sunday afternoon speaker. So all of the banners in this Coliseum have both of you guys in the front of it with a little logo on the bottom that says My Two Dads in front of their big thing. You guys get done doing your keynote. Everyone's standing up. 100,000 people. You've dismissed them. They turn around. They see your face. They see that banner as they're walking out the exits. What's the one phrase or concept you want everyone in that audience to remember those two dads by?
That is quite the picture.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm like over here teared up. Like that's quite, like I have a very vivid imagination, and that just that made the heart palpitate a little bit. Like I was just like,
Well,
oh,
little
boy.
goosebumps.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my hair was like on end. Kyle, you got anything? Because I have an idea, but
You have an idea? Just go.
so I would say the big thing for when people are walking out, the vision that popped in my head is, when you're leaving an event. So like, and I know they do this at Funnel Hacking Live, and that keynote speaker, they're done and it shows their face, and then the screen fades into like their quote. Mm-hmm. And you're walking out and you're seeing it on all the screens, and it's their quote. And I would say for me, two things pop up is, and they kind of go together, is make it happen and never, ever, ever give up.
There you go. That's it. Like we talked about and I'm going to turn it over to Kyle too. We talked about what you wanted to do and how you wanted to build this podcast and how you wanted the audience to feel when they come, like, I'm here. I'm here to learn. I'm here to figure out the struggle, the boring parts, that spot in it where it's like, this sucks, but success sucks. But this spot right here, just what you said is the epitome of My Two Dads. Like, it is what you talk about. It is the journey that's taking you from where you were 365 days ago to being a best-selling author. It is what is taking you from, here's my journey. And maybe you're not listening to it now, but I know you'll listen to it later. Like, and you can do it too if you just keep the tenacity and keep that going. So, Kyle,
you nailed it right there. Like the whole time I'm thinking, like the first thing that comes to my mind is impact, right? Impact. But also, if that guy can do it or that guy can do it, like I want them thinking I can do it too. I feel inspired, and they gave me enough impact that I'm ready to, like, whatever's going on in my life, embrace it and then just take the next right step. Right?
Yeah, like as they're walking
everybody
out of
has
that,
it's funny because my number one episode. Go ahead.
It's all good. Go ahead. I think we're all started crossing hairs.
Yep.
Your number one episode.
My number one episode was a lady, and the highlight is why the hell not? And she just talks about why the hell not. Second episode is Russell Brunson, but second highest listened to episode is Russell Brunson, but the first one is Why the Hell Not by Brie Brophy, and she's like amazing. But yeah, I mean,
but that's what everybody has to say to themselves, right? Why the hell not me?
Not me. What's stopping me? You know what's stopping you? I'm looking the camera and just tell you guys what's stopping you is you're in your own freaking way.
Yep.
Like the voices in your head that keep saying that I'm an imposter, that I'm selfish, that I'm this, that I'm that. Stop using those trigger words and turn it into, something that's impactful. One thing that I learned from the training today, and I'm not coaching, but one thing that I learned from the training today is words like imposter and selfish are good words, but real good words are integrity and self-respect.
Yep.
I want you to think of this, like if I eat the cheesecake, am I disrespecting myself? Right? If I'm not going to the gym, am I disrespecting myself, or do I have self-respect for myself? Am I in integrity with what I did? Like, is that what you want? Are those the words you want to use? Like, don't use those words imposter. Use the word self-respect, integrity. Those trigger words are what you guys have been telling yourself the whole time that have gotten you to exactly where you are right now, nowhere. So my call to action for all of you guys, and we're not done, but my call to action for all you guys is take one step closer to the goal that you set, that you knew that you wanted to do. If you've decided, you know what, I want to do something, just take one step.
That's it, right? The next right step. That's what it takes. It one step at a time.
Yeah.
This was super fun. And I'm down to do it whenever you guys want. I'm down, whenever you guys want to do this again, I'm down to do this. I'm so honored to be here. Just so you guys know, I'm honored to be here. And it's amazing because 3 years ago, there's no way someone would invite me to come do an interview on their podcast or interview them or be on a podcast. And that was 3 years ago. 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago for sure. But that was after 40 episodes.
Yep. Yeah. And we're honored to have you here. And that's one of the reasons why, we asked to do this, is because number one, your experience in the podcasting world is, so respected from so many people, and being able to have someone who is experienced enough to get on here and have no problem just taking control and, just taking over the episode, hijacking it, and just flipping the tables on us. We knew there was nobody else.
And asking great questions.
Oh yeah. These are questions I don't think I've even asked myself a lot of these questions. And there's so much more now that I believe in for what we can accomplish with this show.
I 100% agree with you guys. I know that there's so many things that you guys could help. There's so much impact you guys could have. There's just I always say, if I can help one person, it's amazing. But there's two of you. So you can help more people. That's why we have the three amigos. That's why there's three of us, because we can help so many more people if we put our powers together. You know what I mean? If we put our rings together, we're going to help so many other people.
I am Captain Planet.
Yeah, exactly. I got the little Thanos thing, whatever it is. We'll put them all together. But yeah, it's guys, this was such a blessing. It was so cool to meet with you guys. I'm going to do a shameless plug, guys. If you guys want to check out my podcast, it's called Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. And 112, an episode will be dropping this week. But last week's episode, I dropped 2 episodes, and it was a mastermind training that we had with Michael Burnoff, and he's a communications genius.
Yeah.
And if you want to like get out of your own way and get out of that box that you put yourself in, just listen to episode 1. It's episode 110 and 111. I have it all on the board right here.
Yeah.
110 and 111. I mean, it was a game changer. But yeah, that's what
really
I suggest.
Yeah. People, you need to go listen to that podcast. It's really, really good.
So Eric, the pleasure really is all ours, man.
Oh yeah.
Like we were absolutely blessed that you came on and agreed to do this and just took the time out of your day. Your 7 kids, your 4 grandbabies, come on to our show and chop it up with us.
Well,
so thank you.
It's an honor, and I'm excited for wherever you guys are going next. And congratulations on your book. Like, you sent it out, guys. Action. He sent me, hey, I got my book released. Guess what I did? I went right to Amazon and I bought it. And guess what else I did? Because I listened to everything. I think I bought the audio. I think I bought everything. Like, click, 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 click. Just buy it. Because you don't know what section in the book, what section in an audio, what section in a training that's going to open up your eyes and change your world. So that being said, like, guys, impact over income, continue to do what you guys are doing. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I'm excited. I'm excited to wherever you're going. So, like, tune in, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Subscribe on YouTube, click the like buttons, click the subscribe buttons, do all those things.
All the things.
All the things. Notification bell, all the things.
All the things. The notification, do all that. And that being said, we'll see you on the next episode of Those Two Dads. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks, everybody.